Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my favorite makeup brush video where I am just going to talk about my favorite makeup brushes that I cannot live without, and I have quite a bit. So this is the second parter of the first part of this video series, little duo thing, whatever you want to call it. But the first one was where I talked about my ultimate makeup kit, but I excluded all of my brushes because it was already going to be way too long if I had them both together, so that's kind of why I split them up. So if you haven't watched that, I'll put it in the cards for you so you can go watch it and then come back here and watch this one. So we should probably get right into this before this video is too long, because it's gonna be. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my face brushes and then move into my eyeshadow brushes. So let's get rolling. I'm also going to apologize, all of my brushes are dirty, so sorry. The first two that I'm going to talk about are both foundation brushes. They are the Morphe Y6 brush and the Luxie 530 flat top kabuki brush. These are both flat top kabukis. This one, I mean, they feel pretty similar, but the Luxie one is just slightly bigger than the other one. I think it's a little bit more dense. Yeah, but they are so similar. Now this one's $10. This one's more than that. I'll put it on the screen because I don't know. I've been getting into using foundation brushes for my foundation instead of sponges just because it gives me more full coverage, and that's just kind of what I've been wanting lately. But these are both incredible. I absolutely love them. If you wanted to get one of them, I highly suggest the Morphe one just because it's $10 and there's really no point in spending extra money on a Luxie brush when you have a really good one right here. I mean, I even think that these are dupes for each other. So definite dupe right here. Save your buckaroos. The next brush I'm going to talk about is the Moda Pro BMX 250 chisel brush. This brush is perfect for the under eye and really anywhere but just like placing your concealer. I absolutely love it for that. I'm sure it was maybe meant for putting on like a cream contour and then blending it out, but I just love this because I can get right underneath there and have really good precision, get really good coverage since it's a brush and it's not shearing it out, and also like if I have eyeshadow on already, I can just like, and don't even have to worry about messing up my makeup. My favorite brush to set my under eye concealer with is the Luxie 660 Precision Foundation Brush. This is just really good to, you see me use this, sorry my nose itches, you see me use this all the time, and it really is just great for getting underneath there. Could not live without this brush. Okay, on to contouring. I have two brushes that I really like. I like this crown brush. It is the SS023 Jumbo Kabuki Fan Brush. And then this brush, which is the Sephora Must Have Angled Brush. So they're both really good at just like getting right in there in the cheeks. This one, it just makes it so easy to really like get in there, but this one is smaller because I have a tendency to like go outside the lines. So this is why I like this one, because you can really just chisel right into your cheekbone as well. So these are both amazing brushes for contouring. I don't do it often, but when I do, I use either of these brushes. For bronzer, I have two, kind of depending on my mood and how bronzed I want to be. The first one is this Moda Pro BMX 130 Pointed Blush Brush. Now, I originally thought that this was for bronzer. I got this in one of my BoxyCharms, and honestly, like, no matter what they say a brush is for, you don't have to use the brush for that. Use it for what you want to use it for and what it's good for you. This personally is a little too big to be a blush brush. Oh, just dropped the other one. To be a blush brush for me, but it's really good. It gets you kind of in the hollows of those cheeks, but also it's fluffy enough that you can really just like get up and bronze your face really well. So I'll either use this one or I'll use the Morphe E41 brush. Now this brush is freaking huge, right? Like, this is gigantic, and that's why I love it. because you can just like bronze up your face in no time at all, and it's just easy and effortless. This is very reminding of the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush that's like $78. This one is near not as much as that one. I've never used that brush, but this one I would have to say is probably a good dupe for it just because of the sheer size of this brush. Both of these brushes are my ultimate favorite bronzer brushes. I don't even know how I bronzed with smaller brushes before these babies. So for blush, I really like this Luxie 640 Pro Precision Tapered Brush. I think that this was intended for maybe like, I don't know what it was intended for. Maybe like contouring, but it's way too flimsy for that in my opinion. But it is really good at just like, I like to pat my blush on and then like blend it out. And it's just so like light and feathery that it's just good for blush because it's not putting it on too intense. And you don't really want that with blush normally. I mean, if you do, go for it. But I personally don't. For a highlighting brush, I love the Morphe 438 highlighting brush. I could not find a highlighting brush to save my life. I was on a mission for the longest time. I would just use random brushes and it wasn't giving me the result that I wanted. And everybody seems to love this brush for highlighting. And I'm going to be talking a lot about Morphe brushes, and honestly, like, I can do another video to really tell you if they're worth it or not and do a really full in-depth video if you'd like. This is just going to be kind of a quick overview and why I like those brushes. But this is the greatest highlighting brush I've come across. I'm not a huge fan of fan brushes for highlighting just because I feel like it gets a little wispy and not really where I want it. But this gives you that nice precision to really highlight those cheekbones and keep things looking lit. I'm sorry, I just said that. And then the last face brush that I like is the Sedona Lace EB19 brush. It is just this little guy right here. And what I like it for is spot concealing zits. So I'll just dip, you know, like my the brush into my concealer and just really like spot conceal it and then dab 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 and you're good. And it covers up that zit a lot better than it would if you were just like using your finger, using the doe foot applicator. This makes it nice and precise and make sure that the concealer stays where you want it. So that's why I like it for that. On to eyeshadow brushes. So these are all eyeshadow brushes. The first one is an M54, no, that's not the name, M504. It is this kind of angled brush, not angled, pointed brush, and it's nice and big and fluffy, and I really like it for just, it's bigger so you can really like get in there and blend in your crease, but also blend that transition shade, and it's just kind of like the best of both worlds and gets right into that nook and cranny of a crease that I don't really have that's that defined, and just really like blends it out beautifully. Then this Morphe R37, this is my favorite transition shade brush, or just a clean brush to kind of blend everything out, or blending above the crease to make sure that those two shadows look good when they meet, or however many shadows, you know what I mean. But if I could, I wish that I could have a million of these brushes. They are so good and so fluffy. They're not as soft as this black one. It's a little bit more coarse, but I think that just makes it blend differently, and I like that. So it gives me a nice variety, and I always get a flawless blending when I use this brush. The next brush is a Moda Pro BMX 430 crease brush. So this is a smaller version of the first brush that I told you about, and it comes to a point as well. It's kind of tapered, and it just really like gets into that crease like I like, and that's what I try to place my like crease shade with, just because it's like gets in there, you know, like really gets in there, and it's nice and small so it doesn't make the shadow just kind of like blow up and go where it's not supposed to go. So I love like this is one of my holy grails. I got this in a BoxyCharm as well, and I don't know where it's been all my life, but I love it. So this next brush is this Elizabeth Mott blending brush. So this is a smaller brush, but it is a nice little crease brush, and it's not pointed, but it's really good for like placing the color. And then that's where I would kind of go in with this brush and kind of blend it out, or you know, like this brush, or like this brush, or like, you know what I mean. But it really places the color, because I find it difficult to keep the shadow into the crease where I don't want it to blow out a lot. I've gotten better, and practice makes perfect, but having the right tools helps that as well. So this is definitely one of the right tools to just get that crease color in there and keep it in there, rather than just blending, 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 and the next thing you know, it's like touching your eyebrow. This one is kind of a duo one. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills brush. This is the double end brush that comes with their makeup palettes, eyeshadow palettes, and this is easily one of my favorite brushes. And what I like is with this Elizabeth Mott one, it is definitely like more stiff, and this one is dense and stiff, but yet there's still like quite a bit of movement to it, and it's just a little bit more like flowy, where this one just kind of like stays in its place a little bit too much. So this one I really like to be able to get to that crease and blend it and make sure it's nice and flawless. But also the flat end is easily one of my favorite ends as well, because you can really pack on shade very easily with this, and it's small, so it doesn't like get outside of your lid shade, or it doesn't get outside of your lid, and it just stays where you place it, and I love it for that. It is pretty dense, so it holds up pretty well. The only thing I don't like is storing this, but since that is so dense, it stays okay. Then there's the Morphe E17 brush, and it is a smaller, more precise blending brush, just to compare to the R37. That is the difference in size with them. So what this is really good is, even if you want to get like a darker shadow into that crease, this one will really keep it in there. And then you could just take a clean blending brush and just, and there you go. So I really like that for just really like being super precise, depending on what look I'm going for. And then this brush, which is the M506 brush. So even to compare the last one and this one, there is the size difference between them. So what I like to do for this brush is, after I've planted like an eyeshadow onto my lid, I like to take this and really like blend that eyeshadow together with the other one. Like so. You know what I mean? On the lid. To really like make sure it's nice and flawless. So then another one that I like to use is the E36. Here is for comparison from the previous brush. So what I like this one for is right underneath the lash line, and it just really does an amazing job underneath there of blending everything and placing the shadow and not being too smoked out but still being smoked out. It is perfect. I love it. So then this next one is from e.l.f. You've heard me talk about it before and see me use it. It is the Eyeshadow C brush, and it is a nice flat brush that you just pack on color and it goes on flawlessly. Then I have from Morphe the M432 brush, and it is this nice flat brush where you just plant the color. Pretty sure I still have some on here. So what I really like to do is tight line with that, and I will also get underneath on my lash line if I really want a super concentrated color. Then the last brush that I want to talk about is the Morphe M213 brush. It is this nice and small and tiny flat brush, and it is curved, so you can either, what I like to do is do my inner quarter highlight, I'll do my brow bone highlight. Sometimes I will use this if I'm doing a cut crease because I can really control it. It's really small, but I mean, you could pack on color onto the lid with it, but it's just a little too tiny for me for that. But I love this thing. And it's so tiny. I probably just got shadow on my nose, but it's so cute. But that's everything for this video. I hope that you liked it and that you got some good ideas on some new brushes that you might want, or if you're looking for brushes, I hope that this helps you make your decision so you can use them in your everyday life and routine. These are all fantastic brushes. I know that I talked a lot about Morphe, but they are inexpensive and they're still really good for the price that you're paying. I mean, the prices do go up based on like what group you're buying from, but usually they're all good. Now, the cheapest ones, I do have a lot of fallout with the bristles in those brushes, but when it comes to the higher priced ones, which are like these ones were all like the next step up or the next couple steps up, I think it's just the cheapest ones that I have those problems with. I have not had it with any of my other Morphe brushes. It's just the ones with the white handles. Like this one. I mean, they don't even have like the name of the type of brush that they are. It just says Morphe on the handle. These are the brushes that I get the most fallout with my bristles. It's not a lot, but it is worth mentioning. So if you're gonna buy Morphe brushes, I definitely suggest that you get like not the most cheap ones. Just my food for thought. So if you liked this video, please make sure that you give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to me if you haven't already. I post every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. But you can hit that little notification bell and it'll tell you every single time that I post, so you don't have to remember what days I post on. And make sure that you follow me on all of my social medias. The handles are on the screen and their links are in the description box down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!